they've announced that there will be another World Cup finally. Hopefully there will be one, I think you would agree, on a regular basis. It'll happen a couple of years from now. I can't think of anybody that has more experience than you in these international teams. Tell me, like, just generically off the top, what was your reaction when you heard about it? Is this something that you are pro?
Yes, definitely. I've had nothing but a positive experience at any time I've worked with or for Hockey Canada. I like the idea of it being mid-season. It puts in a lot more wrinkles as you're putting the team together with injuries and things like that. It's a much more of an Olympic feel to it as you're constructing a team. Just based on doing the Olympics, obviously the World Cup has never been this time of year, but I think it's great. Best on best is great. I think the players that play in it love it. I think that the players that don't get selected, they don't mind the time off, but they're connected to it. They want to see how their teammates do. I just think it's great to see players that are never going to get a chance to play together from their home countries that they played to, maybe haven't played with since the World Junior, are going to get to play together. Or if they weren't in that 3-year time frame, like a Crosby and a McKinnon, I know the excitement that they had for last year's Olympics that they didn't go to. That's just going to grow and grow. So I am pro international events.
But the 17-day break mid-season, which if the World Cup does come to fruition in 24, then we know we have the Olympics in 26. This thing is going to become a regular occurrence.
Exactly.
You think that's a good idea?
I think you just roll and adapt with it. The seasons will start a little bit earlier. They'll go a little bit longer every other year. But you have to give if you want to get. And if we want to grow the game, if we want to have our best players on the biggest stage as much as possible, then 17 days, you have to do it if you want to have success. And I do think doing it in February is much more, it's going to grab the fans' attention in September. Again, working in Dallas and working in the Midwest, we had a thing in Dallas, so we start training camp the first day of the football, first game of football, and then we start a regular season when they're throwing the first pitch of the baseball playoffs. It's like you're trying not to get people to watch it, So I think having the World Cup at that time, there's just so much else going on. I think when you have it in February, these tournaments in February, you're going, the people are in a rhythm of watching hockey at that time, and they continue to watch it.
Yeah, you've got their attention probably right away.
Yeah.
There are so many questions to be answered with this that we don't have the answers to now. But one of the things for me was the goofy teams that they came up with last time around. I understand why it was.
Hold on, the goofy teams?
Well, the goofy teams,
Okay.
We all know what we're talking about here. I must say, I'm a traditionalist in that respect. I didn't like it. I know they wanted to be inclusive. I know they wanted all the players that, were warranted in participating to participate, and they had to find a place for them to play. But what do you think about that? I mean, should it be country? That's it. And if it has to be 4 countries instead of 8 or whatever it is, I'd rather see that than see teams that are kind of made up. Your thoughts on it?
I thought when they did it last time, it was an interesting concept. I thought it worked perfectly. Like the everything aligned with Connor and the great young talent for that Young Guns team.
I agree.
But the reality is that's not going to be every other year,
No.
every 4 years. And so I think they hit lightning in a bottle that year. And I think the world team was a great idea. But I believe country on country, best on best, that's what people want to see. When you win, you want to represent, you don't want to represent the globe, or you don't want to represent just Gen X or Gen Z or whatever that under 23 is. You want to represent your country. So I like the concept of best on best, country on country.
Biggest challenge now, Doug, is going to be what we do with the Russians. I mean,
out of my pay grade, but I was thinking of that this morning, actually.
I mean, so all of a sudden, You know, and let's face it, Bob's goofy teams came out of because there was a real belief that some of those second tier teams in Europe, the Slovaks, they didn't have very much success. It was a way to get Zdeno Chara and Andrzej Kopitar into the tournament.
Right.
European hockey has improved, but to take the Russians out is a huge dilemma, isn't it?
Well, it is. And again, I was watching the tennis last night and I didn't really notice it until the Medvedev, where if you watch the tennis, like it's got the person's name in their flag, and the Russians, they don't have a flag there.
Right.
And so they're playing in the tournament, but they're representing nobody. And that just caught my attention and made me think about potential upcoming hockey events. Like the World Junior is not the same without the Russians. They're a hockey power. I'm not saying politically what they're doing is right, wrong. That's none of my business. I have my own views on it. But hockey-wise, they're a great hockey country, and it's going to be interesting to see what the NHLPA and NHL and the IIHF, what rules they come up with moving forward. Again, way out of my pay grade, but I know when we talked about Vladimir Tarasenko, I've been fortunate to watch Vladdy for a decade. He's a special player. I'd pay money to watch Vladdy play, and there's not a lot, when you're in the game, there's not a lot of guys you pay money to watch. I'd pay money to watch him. So Ovechkin, like there's so many great players. You hope that they can find a way, but again, way above my pay grade.
I mean, the juxtaposition of the NHL allows Russians to play as individuals, and the IIHF does not acknowledge the Russians or the Belarusians to play at all. That's a high hurdle to get over in order to try to create best on best, isn't it?
Well, that's why the commissioner and his deputy make all that big money.